looking dapper.
Yeah, material force is probably a different type of sigil. I don't know what happened to Lady Sheelab.
Quite.
She's disappeared. Oh, we have found some things.
Huh.
Don't mind me. Taxing. Raven Shawl. So what was that? Of Rogues. Plus 10 subterfuge. Ooh. Who's got the best subterfuge? Where be subterfuge? Magic defense. Parry. Will defense. I'm not seeing subterfuge as a particular high skill. 67, 55, 68. Okay. I'm not too surprised that it would be you. Haste is too good. But form I don't mind losing. There we go. Do you want this? There you go. Some extra vitality for you. Marvellous. The back of the wall of this home has long since crumbled away, revealing the old walls behind it. Marvellous. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Material force of some sort. Or perhaps a spell that conjures a material, like a wall of iron or something. Eldian is our true leader. Talk to him if you need something. Well, I can't find Eldian. Old walls are dangerous. I wouldn't recommend going inside. Duly noted. Also, you know what? I should save the cave. It's been long enough, I feel. A cave save is in order. So as soon as we come out of this, the cave shall be saved. As soon as we come out of this. Tick-tock. Tick-tock. There we go. Save game. There we are, and pop. There we go. I feel remarkably safer now. I actually didn't talk to them, but that's fine. We've got the forge-bound area. I feel like I want to explore. Oh no, we can get all the way up. Okay, I guess we're going in. Well, do we want to? Yeah, we've got to talk to you. On Lessons Crossing, he mentioned to you that if you were to acquire the helm, you would have the fear of those who call Lethian's Crossing their home. Okay, well, we're going to pop in and have a chat. You should get the elevator music ready, chaotic, yeah. Yeah. But not just any elevator music, you need to get all of the background music from Lemmings. The old, oldie, worldy Lemmings from the before times. The one on the Sega Mega Drive. That's the only elevator music worth even knowing. Oh. Master, the Fatebinder is here. Zedenya, Master of the Forge. Zedenya turns and approaches you, her lithe body moving fluidly as she walks. She stops before you, her stance solid and sure, but you see she is standing lightly on her feet, ready to move if necessary. She never takes her eyes off you, but you know she is acutely aware of her surroundings. Fatebinder, may the fires of your forge never cool. She salutes you. I had hoped our paths would cross. What can this servant of the flame do for you? What have you brought to protect Lethian's Crossing? I've named it the Magebane Helm. I forged it specifically to protect her forge-bound form, the Bane in the old walls. Protect her forge-bound. Her forge-bound from, not form. With the helm in place, its magic will keep them held inside. Okay. Why did you create the helm? The forge-bound are crafters of weapons and armour, Fatebinder, not statues and baubles. I make what I know. And it is also portable and can be moved easily or used in battle should its protection be needed elsewhere in the future. For the time being, though, it will remain here, protecting the forge-bound. We have a job to do and cannot do it properly if we are constantly assaulted by outside forces. I will take my leave. As you will, Fatebinder. I have somewhere else to be anyway. The company here is less than desirable. Oh. Really? I see. Well, we're not going to let her know that I'm here to take it, because that would just make everyone set things up. Oh, here's Eldian. The sunburnt man dips his head in greeting. An outsider never arrives alone. At least, that is what my mother always said. Seems she knew what she was talking about. He nods thoughtfully at his own words. I'm Eldian. Welcome to Lethian's Crossing. Well, if it isn't Tunon's Fatebinder. Welcome back to the Crossing. Haven't seen you around here since you put the disfavoured in charge of everything. Eldian looks you over. Must say, my memory seems to be failing, something I never thought I'd say. He winks. The way people talk about how you came through and drove the Brotherhood out of town, you should be 10 feet tall and shoot lightning from your eyes. I seem to remember you being a little more human. Can't always tell the content of the pie from its crust, though, can you? For instance, who would give the town to the disfavoured and then walk in and kill them all? Not that I will miss the rules and schedules, but one has to wonder why you would switch sides so readily. But enough of my prattling. You didn't come here for a history lesson or to get my opinion on your grandeur. He waves his hand dismissively at his previous comment. I see that you've collected the Archon of Song. He bows slightly to Sirin. You're taking her with you, yes? Nobody's collected me, old man. Sirin scowls down her nose at Eldian. I am only too happy to see the last of your fetid backwater trading post. Well, I'm sorry about that, Sirin, because we're going to be here for a while. Oh, ooh. Maybe there were some crossed wires in that conversation. Of course, mistress. Archon. Eldian scratches the back of his head. We always treasure your presence here at the Crossing. He coughs and turns his attention to you. What can this old fool do for you? Can I ask you some questions about Lethian's Crossing? If you have questions about our settlement, I'm the one to ask. I have the dubious distinction of being the oldest living resident of Lethian's Crossing, so I've been here for a lot of its history. Eldian smiles. Eyes, hips, hair, and hearing might be failing, but my mind still remembers everything that happened here. What would you like to know about it? I'll do my best not to go on too long about it. I know I have a problem keeping my conversation short. Don't we all? I'd like to ask about the Crossing's history. If you've questions about the goings-on in the Crossing, I'm the one to ask. As I mentioned, I've been here for more of its history than anyone else. What would you like to know? Well, who was Lethian? The biggest pain in the arse I ever knew. He turns bright red, blushing at his words. Then lets out a huge guffaw. I suppose I shouldn't talk about my mother like that. She was a mediocre merchant, but a great leader. The war in the North Kingdoms cost her a very lucrative trade route up north, but she managed to earn trade stewardship from Kairos, and for a short time, she had a monopoly on grain, salt, and tin here in the tiers. What did my grandmother say? Give a blind man time and a pile of rocks, and eventually he'll hit a target. He shrugs. Not to say she didn't deserve it, but I think luck played a bigger part in her success than actual talent. But Kairos gives, and Kairos takes. The next year, Lethian was stripped of her trade rights. Suddenly she had a large staff, but no goods to trade and no means to pay anyone. But she was a stubborn one, and knew if she just kept at it, eventually things would turn around for her. She figured the trade goods could come to us. The location was good enough. It's crazy how that would happen. So she decided to concentrate on making an existing local settlement into a centre of commerce for the tiers, and by the claws of a beast she did just that. I thought she was crazy choosing a town nestled up against the old walls, but apparently she knew what she was doing. It wasn't long after that it was renamed Lethian's Crossing, with the bridges over the old walls. This was the only place to go if you wanted to take weeks off your trip. Eventually, she hired the Bronze Brotherhood to act as our local guards. We were big enough and had enough commerce to warrant the protection. So Lethian was your mother? Of course. How did you think I became the Reeve of the Crossing? It's certainly not my storytelling or charm. I may be the oldest living resident here, but that's certainly not a good enough reason to make someone a leader. Though, come to think of it, neither is just being the offspring of the former leader. He laughs. Fair enough. But like it or not, that's how things are. My mother was a wonderful woman. She might not have been the nicest person, and she might have been overfond of dalliance here or there. Or there. Or there. But who isn't? His face sobers. May her rest be ever free of disturbance. Okay. How did you build the old walls bridges? Lethian was the mastermind of that. She could tie a knot with one hand, one string. I remember watching her draw systems of ropes and knots in the sand, telling me what they would do when built. I thought she was crazy. Says she got the idea for the bridges from seeing galleys pulled out of the water into a dock. Apparently, the hardest part was getting the initial climbing team to brave the old walls and set the first ties, but apparently you can pay a man enough rings for him to overcome his fear of old walls predators. So why did you settle here? Necessity. The rope bridges let us cross the old walls. With them, it didn't matter what trade rights we had. We'd be at a crossroads to the northern tiers, an unbelievable location. The siege of Ardent and the Bastard City ended up helping us. All those folks heading to the points east crossed through our little settlement, and many of them decided to stake a claim with us. By then, Lethian discovered there was iron in our river. She thought it would make us rich, but it also made us a target. The old walls don't make passage through the area easy, and our bridges cut days to weeks off the trip. Lethian's Crossing is the best bet to get your shipment where it needs to go. Mix a motherload of iron ore into it, and we suddenly had a target painted on us. What is Kairos' interest in the crossing? I mean, it's the iron, obviously, but... Iron, plain and simple. Now we have the forge bound here, toiling away with the ore they pull from the river. We're being squeezed for our resources. If you're after a drink, better to squeeze fruit than a stone. And it would seem many people find us to be very juicy indeed. There was a merchant who tried to peddle iron rocks as magical because they came from areas near the old walls. One of the people he sold to happened to be a disfavoured courier. The courier then showed the rocks to a forge-bound master who immediately recognized its potential for making superior weapons. It was brought to Kairos' attention, and soon afterwards soldiers and forge-bound came to Lethian's Crossing. They came with such force, our options were to either comply with what they wanted or die. So why does the Brotherhood want Lethian's Crossing? Land? Breeding stock? They've been here longer than I have, so maybe they consider it home too. But Kairos' purse masters are no longer paying them to fight, and if a mercenary is killing for free, something's suspect. In the end, I suppose it doesn't matter. Rightamon will never let go. He feels he owns this town, and he aims to have it back. Okay, let me ask you something else. This is going to be a long chat, by the way, by the looks of it. What can you tell me about the spire in Lethian's Crossing? Shakes his head. Sometimes I wonder why Lethian thought it was a good idea to settle here. We already had a Bane problem before the Forge-bound showed up here. Now that they're using the crossing as one of their main forges, the Bane issue is even worse, since the Bane are drawn to magical energy. We have to put on constant alert for them escaping. That's it? There are Bane in the old walls? We ask you about some of the most powerful magic in the tiers, and you tell us a tidbit of information we already know. I'm sorry, miss. I wasn't aware it was important. I have been inside there for all of one time in my life, and I don't plan on going back there ever again. So if you want more information, you'll need to ask someone else. As my uncle used to say, don't ask the dog what the pig has been up to. I can tell you what I know. Nothing more. Well, that's fair. How did you seal the door? I obtained a keystone that can be used to open or seal the door. One of Kairos' soldiers found it while they were looking for a way to seal the doors to keep the Bane from escaping. The sealed door is only a temporary measure, though. It holds the Bane back for now, but it won't last for much longer. That's why Tunon instructed Denya to create an artifact to protect Lethian's Crossing from the Bane. Will you let me into the old walls? I'm afraid that's a risk I'm not willing to take, Fatebinder. Once the doors are unsealed, there's a good chance Bane will flood into Lethian's Crossing. As much as I would love to help you, I can't endanger my town like that. That's fair. Tell me your thoughts on the Bronze Brotherhood. They were here since the crossing was founded. Lethian herself hired them to protect the settlement when it was just getting started. A fledgling town in the shadow of the old walls. They did such a good job, she kept them on as our peacekeepers, and that's how things went. At least until you decided to oust them and put someone else in their place. Can't say I wouldn't have done the same, truth be told. Taking pay from two employers is always going to end badly if you can't make both of them happy. On top of that, it seems lately that Ratamon is travelling a path that no one can see, and I don't want to see what's at the end of it. Tell me what you think about this favoured. Strict curfews, frequent searches, and no forgiveness for missed iron and grain quotas. That's the ill of it. But the sentries keep constant vigil and treat us with respect, politeness even. Most of them call me Elder and bow. If someone's going fishing in your pocket and taking your crops, may as well be kind about it. I suppose so. It's definitely not the situation I would have chosen, but things can always be worse. The water might be up to your knees, but it could also be up to your nose, is what my grandmother would tell. Wow, you got so many stories from your grandmother. It's marvellous. What about the Earthshaker mages? A few have passed through the crossing in recent times, all headed south to the Stone Sea. At least that's the word of it. The mages didn't stay for long. He gestures to the massive stone facade of the old walls, and I'm glad they kept on travelling. If some madman cast a spell that cracked the foundation of the old walls, praise Kairos it hasn't happened. And the forge bound? They toil away in their forge houses day in, night out. Kara's forces keep them well guarded since they know how to work binding ore into weapons harder than stone or bronze. I've delivered food and kindling to the forge houses, but never had much contact with the artisan mages. Okay. How have your interactions with the Scarlet Chorus been? Can't say that I've a strong opinion one way or the other, really. They didn't seem to care much about leaving the settlement behind. Once the decision was made to let the disfavoured have control, they left, and I haven't seen much of them. Alright. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need directions around here. Eldian laughs and puts a hand on your shoulder. I completely understand. The crossing can be a bit intimidating the first time anyone arrives, but it's not as complicated as it looks. The river is named Port Scour, and it flows down the middle of the settlement. The waterfalls pouring over the old walls are Sunrise and Moonrise. The west waterfall is Sunrise because of how the sun hits it in the morning, and Moonrise got its name due to how it glows during the full moon. The crossing itself is broken up into districts named after the waterfalls. The west side of the river is Sunrise District and the east side Moonrise District. The different levels of Lethian's crossing don't really have names, but most people refer to them as the tiers. My home is considered part of the ground tier. The forge is on the first tier, both in the Moonrise District. Okay, well, I'll be on my way. Thank you so much. Of course, I'll head back home, should you have need of me. Thank you. Well, that was actually pretty cool. A lot of reading, I know, but that was genuinely quite cool. I enjoyed chatting with him. Okay. The Forge Master's Prize. There may be a way to remove the Magebane helm from Lethian's Crossing. Inspect the helm up on the third tier of Lethian's Crossing. And Stirring Visions. Find a way to Lethian. You have gained access to the Haven. The region's spire is attached to the old walls of Lethian's Crossing. Travel there to find a way to gain access to the spire. The passageway leading to the Sunset Spire has been temporarily sealed due to recent bane sightings in the old walls. You cannot reach the spire at this time. Oh, damn it. Okay. Well, for now, there is plans. Headhunter. These plans detail how to forge the mythical blade known as Headhunter. This item can be created with access to a spy forge upgrade and proper materials. Thank you. And a forge-bound hammer. Let's have a look at how this sits with you. Armor penetration 4. Compared to my other weapons. Okay, so slash, pierce, and crush. Praying, 0.5% bonus damage for every 1% missing health. I mean, I don't really use my weapons that much. 14 to 19, it's the same, really. Recovery, armor penetration, the same. Yeah, it's really not that much better. So we're probably not going to be using that myself. I'll take it, but I can't see it being especially useful. Especially against your items. You've got slash and pierce, and that's it. That being said, they're fairly low damage. Accuracy. Accuracy. I'm going to give this to you instead of your Qatar. There we go. Just so you've got a bit of better spread of damage types. I think that's probably going to be wise. Why do we have to stay here when all we experience is pain? That's a good question. These worn iron weapons look as if they have been recently repaired and are being ready to be shipped back. Why do we have to stay here? So much pain. With all the destruction, we should probably move the forge to another city. Maybe. Okay, grab that. This armor is newly made by the forge bound. It is still warm to the touch. It's hot. Don't touch it. Okay, fair enough. Master of crafting, master of tempering. Just gonna have a quick chat with you. Well, destruction. Okay. Right. So, who do I want to chat with first? Master of crafting. Ultanis surveys the room with an air of superiority. He addresses you without making eye contact. Is there something you want? What do you do here in the forge? I keep things running smoothly. Upkeep, mostly. He smiles coyly. I am also second in command to Laura. So in case anything ever happens to her, I'm here to take charge. Is there a problem? His eyes carefully watch Laura as he answers you. Yes, but these are forge-bound matters. Nothing that concerns the High Court of Tunon, I can assure you. Oh. Huh. Maybe some issues. A muscular woman stands upright from her forge and turns to look at you, the light of the fire playing across her face, making her eyes dance dangerously. A toothy smile breaks across her mouth, the one bright spot on her soot-stained face. Do you kill with your left hand or your right? She rubs blackened palms together, eyeing you expectantly. Normally, I can tell at a glance, but you're a little harder to read. I mean, my character's dual-wielding, so... is that how they say hello in your hometown? Why would you like to know? I could glare at her. I'll glare at her, honestly, because there isn't an answer there that's appropriate. Draped in loose-fitting linens, a heavy canvas smock, and a layer of sweaty film, the middle-aged woman is a living display of soot stains, burns, and scar tissue. Beneath the soot on her head is skin that rarely sees the touch of the sun. Her white teeth vanish behind a scowl. Right or left? We'll go with right. Noted. She clears her throat and wipes her blackened hands from the canvas of her smock. I am Laura, Master of Tempering and Forge Master of Lethian's Crossing. My tasks exceed the hours left in the day, but there is no harm in pausing my work if it means speaking with the Fatebinder. How may I be of assistance? Well... Did I loot the barrel up top? I'm not sure which barrel you're referring to, but I'll have a look. I'd like to talk to you about Barrack. Why did you want to know if I kill with my right or my left hand? I am actually quite interested about that. The gauntlet is the hardest piece of the panoply, and the most rewarding to work. So many scales of so many different sizes, and then there's the rivets. She slides her thumb and fingers together, shedding flecks of soot and iron dust. I imagine you see a lot of battle in your line of work. One gauntlet is invariably going to wear out before the other. My mind is always thinking on what will need repairs first. It's as simple as that. Okay, that's a reasonable answer. I'd like to talk to you about Barrack. I guess I could. I'll come back for that, though. I'm sure I'll be back here sometime. Tell me about Lethian's Crossing. I don't see much of it, only this. She points to the roof and walls of the forge. Lethian and her merchant crew settled this area a while back. The brave fools built bridges over the old walls and made themselves a crossroads trading post. Real pioneer spirit stuff. The whole place might have been ignored by Kara's forces, except somebody discovered there was iron everywhere. Can't wash your clothes in the river without them coming out rust-tinged. So the iron made Lethian's Crossing important enough for Kairos to want it for himself. It made good sense to move some of us forge-bound here to Lethian's Crossing. Easier to put us near the iron instead of shipping it over the mountains. That, and this is a crossroads. We can resupply our allies faster than ever from our new workshop. What about the forge-bound? For centuries, my guild has sought the union of magical and manual perfection. While others concern themselves with the arcane for the sake of inordinate power, we study it to overcome the traditional limits of our arts and crafts. The forge is our dominant concentration of study, but not all forge-bound work metal. Some are weavers, carpenters, and one of our odder members fancies himself a chef. The wise and mighty Kairos has been kind to our guild. He offered to put our weapons and armor in the hands of those who would change the world. A broad smile overcomes her face. And he has been true to his word. Forge-bound iron has trampled the tears, and all that oppose Kairos' forces rest their heads on forge-bound spears. Okay, that's a bit of a rhyme. What can you tell me about the forge-bound master? Zdenya is the best leader I have the pleasure of working under. She guides the forge-bound with a steady yet stern hand, guaranteeing all our work is of the utmost quality and peerless in every regard. I am Zdenya's second, which is why I am the forge master of Lethian's Crossing. She points to Ultanis. He is my second, should anything happen to me. I haven't worked with him long, so I don't know much about him or the true long-lasting quality of his work, but he was appointed by Zdenya, so he must be good at what he does. Okay. Okay. How does your magic help you make things? Our most important rituals bind the crafter, tools, and materials into one entity? She cracks a nervous smile. Close enough. In my own work, the forge bind draws the whole of my senses to the edge of the blade I'm tempering. I can see the tiniest notch or touch my finger to the blade and feel the razor sharpness without breaking my skin. Such perfect execution of art has its cost, of course. Once heart and lungs become linked to flame and hammer, a dropped hammer could lead to a stopped heart. Oh, wow, okay. Most of our members die in the throes of their work, killed by a distraction or simple error. She blushes. You lose a lot of apprentices. Wow. Hey, Shell Bell, hiya. How are you doing? But that is quite full on. Can you make me something magical? No. She smiles and shakes her head. But almost everyone asks. Relics of arcane power must grow into themselves. They are never made from nothing. She points her fingers in the air and smiles. But what I can do is use my magic to swing my hammer with perfect precision, or work a cantrip to handle molten metal with my bare hands. We can build artifacts of exceeding quality and refinement, but they must be used in great deeds to grow into relics of power. And that is why we seek to put the works of our forges into the hands of the great. True legends require the alliance of sword makers and sword masters. That's very interesting. Okay, I'm not going to ask that because that's kind of offensive. Let's speak of something else. How may I be of assistance? Tell me about the disfavoured. The disfavoured have treated us as honoured guests. We are given privacy, autonomy, food, and protection. In return, we give them the best iron in the tiers, and they put it to use. A favourable arrangement. But I'm no fool that I read too much into the kindness. We are a war resource and exist only because we feed their insatiable need for quality iron. Alright. Can you make something for me? Can. She lifts an eyebrow. Most certainly. Will? Well, Kairos invented queues for a reason. She let slip a sigh. I have every Iron Walker and every Scarlet Chorus ringleader sending me bribes and flattery in hopes that I'll work off schedule and make some special this or one of a kind that. Her mouth moves as if to speak, but she falls silent, folding her arms. I'm going to use my subterfuge. I did not realize the request was so thoughtless. My apologies. There we go. 9 subterfuge skill experience. That's pretty good. I get unreasonable demands every day, but it's not the volume, it's the purpose. She lowers her voice to a near whisper and steps closer to you. I do resent that Kairos demands reduce our work to mere quotas. I should be allowed to customize my work for every soldier. Only apprentices have anything to learn from making the same size helmet again and again. Forget I asked. That I will. Are you well? You look weary. Also, look, how is my... okay, wrath is fairly high, but we're getting there. Ecstatic, her voice is matter of fact, and the smile creeps in. The ritual forge links heart to hammer. My blood beats only when I strike my ingot. My forge runs too hot if my breath becomes too hurried. The bond is both fatiguing and exhilarating. I mean, she's already told me, but I'll ask. Can I kill you? I should hope so. She laughs, her face blushing the colour of molten metal. Better than being defiled and killed by brigands, poisoned by grain rot, or slain by childbirth. Would not a soldier wish to die in battle? Fair enough. Is that how you excel at your craft? Well, that and practice, she scowls. But yes, the rituals link the senses to the material and the body to the tools. My hand becomes a joint, the hammer, the true end of my arm. I feel the heat of the forge as if it were the weather of the room. Under such circumstances, true focus can emerge. Fascinating. Well, I must be going. I'm not going to ask about Barak until I have Barak with me. That barrel has been emptied, so we don't need to worry about that one. Oh, thank you very much, Eds, for the cheer there. I'm going to have to go and get myself a drink in a moment, though. I think Sheila may have been pounced on by the ferrets and has probably gone to sleep, covered in ferrets. They have that effect on people. Especially tired people. They have that effect very easily on tired people. So your places are comfortable to sleep. What? Okay. Oh. Oh dear. Bruiser. To arms! The Fatebinder approaches and must not be allowed to live. Who are you? Oh, of course, it's the Bronze Brotherhood. Why am I not surprised that they would move in the moment this happened? Ah, look, so many people dead. I knew that was coming. The moment I took out the people here, I knew it was coming. Raiding Lethian's Crossing. Defend the settlement and defeat the Bronze Brotherhood. A group of Bronze Brotherhood soldiers near the east and west bank. Kill them all. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Grab some more loot from the Nerd Castle vault. Oh, thank you very much, Eds. That's very kind of you. Shell, yeah, my landlord is looking to sell the property, so I've got until the beginning of next month to find a place. Been looking for like 2 months. They gave us a decent amount of time beyond the amount that they were legally bound to give us, to their credit. But yeah, it's hard to find a place that meets all the criteria. Okay. Raider, no armor, you've got armor. So, Kills in Shadow, need you there. Need to be back. Siren, back. Move.
Look at that.
Oh,
Your corpse.
Damn it. Alright, Siren, pull back a little bit further. Right, Bane of Night. Do I click that? Oh, I just leave it. Okay. I really need you to be forward. No, I really need you to be forward. Ah, oh, damn it. You keep switching to that bloody bow. I'm going to take that off you, I swear. Alright, Siren, you just hang tight there and keep singing. Alright, cleave the armor, please. Go ahead and skewer. And I'm going to thrust. And then we'll see what we can do. Yes, that's right. You are doing as Alpha asks. Get back into that fight, please. There we go. Alright, Siren, could I get... I think you've already just used Surge of Glory, have you not? No, you used Titan's Touch. Fair enough. Get me Surge of Glory going on there. Let's get the rain.
So not happy. I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass.
Fantastic. I approve. Make it happen. First kill to rate it. Good. Kills in Shadow grazes the bruiser. It's fine. Let's get you involved. As for me, I'm going to move up. I'm going to cast Guidance. I guess on me. I can cast on different people. Oh, that's useful.
This isn't working.
Right, get in. Go for it.
It's time to...
It is time to kill, yes. I could Unravel their minds. I could Tidal Burst. I could Spectral Blur. I'm going to go for a Spectral Blur. Okay, you're also doing the same. Oh, never mind. They're down. Very nice. Thank you very much. Good old Kills in Shadow. Making sure the Alpha is healthy. Damn it. I should have dealt with them. We've lost a lot of civilians around here. Okay, we've already grabbed everything from there. Okay. They shouldn't be too hard to deal with. Let's get both of you forward. We are now missing Lantry's abilities, but that's fine. Let's go with red runs. Keep going quickly now. There we are. I need to get your subterfuge up just a little bit more. Go for this. Right, I'm gonna creep forward as well. Right, one terrified. Good. I would like you very much to just go for... Yeah, just set him on fire if you can. Likewise with Kills in Shadow.
I'm not here to make friends.
Right. Shattered Stone. Don't worry about that one, but I would like Surge of Glory. And as for me, I could go for Spectral Blur on Kills in Shadow. I love having Siren doing that, it's amazing. Right. Tidal Burst, don't need it, but Fireball I could probably use. Set you on fire if I can. No, come back! Stop running away! Scoundrel! Get over there. Siren, follow up. Ouch. There we go.
Well, that did nothing.
Good old
except
mage
take
fire.
them off. You got it.
Oh, will you please stop switching to that bow? So vexing. Right, I'm going to take that bow away from you because that is just annoying.